Alright, welcome to today's notes. We're going to look at standard form, and we'll look at how we're going to use standard form in some different ways. Now there's going to be a question on your assignment tomorrow where you're going to have to decide why would you use standard form over some different things. So make sure that you're kind of thinking about that, and maybe even do a little research on why you would want to use those things. But that's a question you're going to have to answer tomorrow. There will be a short quiz, 2 questions tomorrow to start class, kind of like as a little warm-up. So make sure you take down your notes, because I'm not going to give you any formulas for that quiz tomorrow. You can use your notes, so make sure you have these different things in there. Okay. Alright, so the standard form, and all standard form is this basic form right here, ax plus by equals c. That's our standard form. Okay. Now, that a and b, they cannot equal 0. And we'll have a little discussion in class after the quiz on why a and b cannot equal 0. So I want you to think about that before class tomorrow and try to decide why and when would we have a or b equal to 0, what type of equation we would have. Okay. Alright, so what standard form allows us to do, it allows us to easily find out our x and y intercept. And our y intercept can be found by taking our c divided by b. And our x-intercept can be found by taking our c and dividing it by a. Because remember, the y-intercept, and I'll just draw a quick picture here. If I've got a picture that looks like that, here's my line. Our x-intercept is where our graph crosses the x-intercept. That's where our y is 0. And our y-intercept, let me get a different color here. Our y-intercept would be where the graph crosses the y-axis. So our x is 0. Okay, and then finally the last thing, our slope, the formula for slope is negative a over b. Okay, so standard form actually gives us 3 very important things: x-intercept, y-intercept, and our slope. Okay, alright, so now we're going to look at a couple of examples. Alright, so this first one, we want to find the x and y-intercepts from that following equation. Okay, so based on this previous slide, our y-intercept is c over b. So for my y-intercept is c over b, which is our c is 12, our b is negative 4, so 12 divided by negative 4 is negative 3. Now that's not our y-intercept, that's a value. So our y-intercept, remember, our y-intercept is whenever the x is 0. So our y-intercept is 0, negative 3. Now let's go ahead and find our x-intercept, which is c over a. So our c is 12, our a is 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Again, 4 is not the x-intercept, it's not our ordered pair. Okay, and that's just where it crosses the x-axis. Our actual ordered pair is going to be 4, 0. That's the ordered pair for our x-intercept. Okay. Alright, next example. And if I'm going quick, pause it and go back over it. We want to write the following equations in standard form, so we just want to solve those. Okay, so we want to get in that ax plus by equals c. So first thing I'm going to do is get my x's and y's on the same side. So I'm going to subtract 1/2 x from both sides. So that gives me a negative 1/2 x plus y equals negative 2. Well, I want to get that value in front of my x to be a whole number, because that a needs to be a whole number, and preferably positive. Okay, so that a needs to be positive and a whole number. So to do that, I'm going to take my entire equation and I'm going to multiply it not just by 2, but by negative 2. Okay, so I'm going to take everything in there. So negative 2 times a negative 1/2 is just x. Negative 2 times y, so minus 2y, equals negative 2 times negative 2, positive 4. And that is our standard form. Next example. Okay, again, I want to get the x's and y's on the same side, so I'm going to subtract 1/4 x from both sides. So that gives me a negative 1/4 x plus y equals 3 over 2. Now again, I want the x value to be positive and a whole number. So I'm going to multiply my entire equation, so it's a negative. So I'm going to multiply my entire thing, because 4 times the 4th is 1. So I'm going to multiply it by a negative 4. The entire everything in there by negative 4. So if I multiply that, negative 4 times a fourth is just 1, so it's just x. Negative 4 times y, so minus 4y equals. Now the second part, I also want my equation to have nothing but whole numbers in there, if at all possible. Okay, so when I multiply this here, this negative multiplied by 4, the 4 and the 2 will also kind of cancel out, so I don't have any fractions. So 3 over 2 times 4, and I'll write it out over here in case you don't remember your fractions, or times negative 4 over 1. So that would reduce, so negative 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. And there is my standard form equation. And then finally, I want to graph the line using my intercepts. So my y-intercept is, we'll refer back to here, my y-intercept is c over b. Now make sure you have that written down. It's not something that you're going to remember. You don't use it enough. Okay, so the y-intercept is c over b. And my c is 10. My b is negative 2. So my y-intercept is at negative 5. So remember, the y-intercept is where your graph crosses the y-axis. So it crosses the y-axis at negative 5, so I'll put a little dot there. And then I want my x-intercept, and that's c over a. So my c is 10, my a is 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2. So my x-intercept, where the graph crosses the x-axis, is 2. And then from there, I can just go ahead and draw in my line, which is going to, I'll fix it here. So it's going to look something like that. So there's my line using my x and my y intercept. Okay, I didn't need to worry about finding for the slope because I just have those 2 points on there. Okay, all right, so that's how we're going to use the standard form. Okay, again, now make sure you're kind of thinking about ways that you would and reasons you'd want that standard form instead of your slope intercept or point slope form, and we'll discuss those in class tomorrow. Thank you for watching, and that's it.